What's up, guys? So awesome to be back on our 7th episode of the Men's Club podcast.
Yes.
It's flying by. I can't believe that we've made it this far, to be honest, and I'm super excited to be back with you guys. Of course, as always, I'm TJ.
I'm RD.
I'm Pops.
And I'm Jordan.
And I think...
Did you forget your name?
Well, I'm usually the last one that says it. Y'all told me for a loop.
We'll have to put him in a home.
Getting senile.
At that time.
I don't like change.
So, unforeseen mental complications aside, I think this week we've got a travel special.
Yeah. Something like it. So I'll just go ahead and I'll just go ahead and explain what happened. So RD over here
put a hole in the table. I'm just
I did.
It's a big divot.
I'll go ahead and tell you, it's just my ring.
Oh, we can't have good stuff.
I know. But so RD, in his infinite wisdom,
Tons.
yeah, couldn't get to his camping gear. So the competition.
Not my fault.
Yeah, you claim that. Yeah, coronavirus kept him from getting to his camping gear, so we're going to have to just wait on that. I think that it's going to be a mid to late July episode, maybe even an early August episode.
Yeah, after I get back from my camping excursion with the United States Army, I'll be able to have all my gear with me instead of
Locked up in their armory.
Yeah, locked up in their armory.
That said, and I said this before the episode, but I'm going to say it to you guys, half of this whole thing was the differences in style and the efficiency of the advantages, disadvantages. So just remember in your voting that he's down like 10 points because one of the biggest disadvantages of his kit is you don't have access to it.
You just can't have it.
Yeah.
I can go to my house right now and grab mine. I think the both of you can say the same.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to have it.
So that's a big drawback to the military packing list.
Yeah.
But just hopping right into this travel thing. So we've kind of been, well, what brought it all on? Me and RD decided to take a weekend trip. We went to Hot Springs, Arkansas. Had a wonderful time. But we're just kind of...
Too wonderful of a time.
Well, stuff happens. Places and things and people.
Crippling financial ruin.
Probably.
No, actually,
Homelessness.
that's one thing that we're going to touch on. It was beyond affordable.
Oh yeah, no, it was actually super cheap, especially if you go like with a buddy and you end up staying together.
Yeah.
You know, we just grabbed a hotel room with 2 queen beds, and I think we spent on lodging all weekend like $110.
Yeah.
Like it was extremely cheap, and we didn't stay in no slouch of a hotel either.
No,
We actually stayed in the Hotel Hot Springs.
Yeah.
Well,
the second night.
yeah, the first night we stayed in Monticello, but that was for other reasons.
Yeah.
We went and saw family and stuff. So, but as far as actual Hot Springs goes, that was a wonderful place to visit.
Oh yeah.
You know, we got to find out so much about. You know, I didn't realize it was the gangster's paradise back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you've been to Hot Springs. I don't think you've ever gotten to go, have you? But yeah. But if you've never been to Hot Springs, it is well worth the trip just to go to the Gangster Museum.
Yes.
I don't think I ever made it that far
Well,
west.
what's cool about it? It was America's first. I would say Las Vegas at the time, or not Las Vegas, but like
More like
Hollywood.
Reno, yeah.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Everybody who was anybody came to Hot Springs, and we're talking presidents, gangsters, famous gangsters, John Dillinger.
Well, you know, that's the crazy thing about it that I realized too, that there were actually presidents and gangsters there at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder why.
Well, sure.
No clue.
Well, I mean, you say that, but the whole reason that the FBI has as much power as it does today is that there were presidents in Hot Springs at the same time as the gangsters.
Yeah.
So, but John Dillinger, like you said, Babyface, I can't remember his
George
last name.
Nelson.
Yeah, George Nelson.
Yeah.
Pretty Boy Floyd.
Pretty Boy Floyd.
Capone?
Yeah,
Yes.
the big
Oh,
one, the
yeah.
main one, Al Capone.
Well, not really. Oni Madden.
yeah, Oni Madden.
Al Capone's the biggest name. Oni Madden was the one that actually built Hot Springs.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And made it what it was. So, definitely worth going to check out just to see the Gangster Museum. They've got a whole lot of memorabilia. One of the most striking things to me is they actually have a death mask.
Yeah.
And it was a Dillinger death mask,
Yep.
was it not?
John Dillinger.
Yeah.
Don't they have one of the cars too?
They had the picture. They're trying to get Al Capone's car. I think it's in St. Louis, is what they said.
I believe it was in St. Louis, yes.
Yeah, they're trying to get the rights to own it.
That sounds right, actually, because I was in St. Louis year before last,
Yeah.
and I remember something about that. Seeing a big sign.
But Hot
They,
Springs is still in the works. They're trying to purchase that.
Well, they're asking
Cadillac.
for $1 million for this Cadillac, which it was an armored Cadillac. It was the same Cadillac that the police at the time drove,
Mhm.
which I thought was cool. Capone saw a couple cops go by one day. He said, "I want one of them."
Yeah.
I'm gonna have one.
But I'm gonna have one tenfold.
Oh yeah.
Well, if you had as many bullets fired at you as he did, you had to have something like that.
Oh Lord, yeah.
Now that was, correct me if I'm wrong, it was like the gangsters, the mob, those kind of guys that's why suicide doors are a thing, yeah? So that they could open them up for their drive-by kind of deals.
Possibly, but there's no actual evidence of that.
There's like not a guarantee like this was the first guy to do it.
Well, that's the thing. At the time, suicide doors were actually standard on the cars.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah. If you go back and you'll look at a lot of older vehicles, suicide doors came as an option.
And for anyone younger like Gen Z that's watching, if you don't know, suicide doors are when the back doors go the wrong way when you open them.
Yeah, they open up where you can fall out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it opens up the entire car.
Yeah, it makes a big box, basically.
Yeah.
Whereas, now they just roll down the windows. Suicide door allowed them to... Well, that was the other thing that was really cool that they had. They had two, I don't want to call them inert, but disabled Tommy guns. Like actual drum mag Tommy guns. It was...
Yeah.
It was
Actual
awesome
weight.
just getting to hold one of those.
I was actually watching like a bunch of videos on like the series of the Thompson submachine gun, just on topics since we're talking about gangsters. And did you know that the very first Thompson submachine gun, like, was god awful? Like, no one wanted it. Like,
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's terrible. Like, the design is miserable. It's got like 4 different pieces, and so basically there's like this theoretical design for recoil that on paper sounds like it's a good system, and really it's just a very inefficient straight blowback system with extra steps and stuff that can tear up.
Yeah.
And so it made it heavy and unwieldy. The Gen 2 is the one that the mobsters love so much, and they actually pitched them to the military, and the Marines were like, this is cool, these drum mags suck. And so actually all of the actual, like, was it Vietnam era that they started using them Tommy guns?
No.
In World War II.
Yeah, it was
Was it
World War
World War
II.
II?
It was World
They
War-
actually was introduced during the First World War, right at the very end.
Yeah, but they never saw just a whole lot of action.
But I'm talking
World War.
specifically Marine issue, because the Marines were the guys that really used them. I think it was like into World War II, beginning of Vietnam, and they were like, they're cool, but these drum mags are too bulky for trench warfare, and so they switched to sticks. It's all stick mags.
You know what? Bringing that up, we ran into a guy. Remember when we was taking pictures with the Tommy guns? That Vietnam veteran.
Yeah,
He
and
said
he was
he-
actually issued one.
He was issued one.
Yeah, because it took to Gen 3 for them to completely sign off on it, but the Marines' kind of ideology was we don't need a battle rifle to run through trenches.
Yeah.
And so they went with the Thompson, and it took till Gen 3. And by Gen 3, it's the Tommy gun you know of today that's like really awesome.
Well, I mean, the Gen 2 is, like you said, it was the Gangster's Paradise gun.
The Chicago typewriter,
exactly,
per
the
se.
Chicago typewriter. But now,
And another fun fact about the Gen 3s is they actually can't even take drum mags. The mag well is not set up for the feed lips on a drum mag. It's only stick mags.
well, if you'll actually look at the these had to be Gen 2s because they were drum mags. The drum actually sits inside the receiver.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that you couldn't accept that if you could accept stick mags.
It's really interesting, and that's talk about suicide doors. Just backtracking, that's why now when they just roll the windows down, it's because we've got pistols and we've got super short rifles, whatever. But back then, a Tommy gun was like a short rifle, and it's still like you'd fit it in a guitar case.
Yeah, oh, you could absolutely fit it in a guitar case. You could probably fit it in a violin case if you knew where to cut.
But it was too big to actually, get out of a window. So they were like, let's just open the door and.
It's crazy.
But being Hot Springs, it is built by the mafia.
Oh, I mean, it absolutely was.
There's a lot more stuff there other than mafia-related stuff, which it was all built by the mafia, but there's other parts of the town, like the bathhouses, the spa houses. You got a whole row of what's called Bathhouse Row. You know what bathhouses are? They're just natural springs that you go inside and you take a bath in or relax. It's like a spa day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're still big in Europe, like Scandinavian countries. It's basically like a sauna. I mean, they were big forever, like everywhere. I think Rome was kind of the originator, per se, and they're still popular over there. You don't really see them as much here. I didn't know they were any in Hot Springs.
Some of the bathhouses there, I think it was the first one, and the one at the Arlington Hotel is Roman style. And
Yeah.
It's actually
that's awesome.
Roman bathhouses.
And I know this is kind of like a history lesson, but you almost can't have a travel conversation without a history lesson because there's so much history just behind the locations.
Personally, that's one of the biggest reasons I go to a location is the history in it.
Yes.
And Hot Springs was just rampant with it between the mob and it, the different. They did a full thing on the mayors of Hot Springs and how it changed with each mayor.
The mayor that was there for 25 years.
Yeah, what's his name?
Oh, I can't remember. He started in, 27?
Something like that. But, he brought gambling back is what he did. And that's why it made it the gangsters' playground.
That's one of those, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be mayor, and you're not going to give us no problems.
Well,
and you're going to continue to be mayor.
What actually happened was it was a district attorney, was it not?
Yes.
And he was the judge in Hot Springs. And then there was this guy who was about to be up for election for mayor.
Yeah.
And they got together and they said, "All right, I'm going to help your election. You're going to help mine. Mm-hmm. They used the phrase, we're going to open Hot Springs back up." There was no mob involvement at that time.
Right.
They just said, we're going to open Hot Springs back up.
Yep.
And they did. And they brought back the gambling, they brought back the clubs, but it was still all under wraps, quote unquote.
Low-key speakeasy type.
Which, unfortunately, there's none of that now, but there is Oaklawn Racetrack where you still bet on your ponies, and it's
well, that was actually the
really
first thing
fun
they
time.
brought back, was it not? Was the horse racing?
Yep.
That's something that doesn't seem like it would be a lot of fun, but I've been at the Kentucky Derby twice, and it's so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
There's no right being that much
So
fun.
what's cool about Hot Springs, you're encouraged to dress up
Yeah.
like the old days and go in there and bet on your ponies and have a drink or two and relax. I mean, that's basically what the city is still for. It's just relax.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Leisure town.
Yep. It's Spa City. Yep. And Pops, you want to say something?
Yeah, I feel like you had
You had your
input.
hand up.
No, I was just listening.
Just listening. Tuning in.
Well, I mean, and that's the other cool thing about Hot Springs is actually the way that the city was built. So, they had this canal that fed off the Hot Springs.
Yep.
That's where the name comes from. But you couldn't build anything. Kept flooding. So they siphoned that canal up underneath Main Street. So every time you walk down Main Street, you are actually walking on top of the old canal.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed video from underneath Main Street where the canal still runs and everything. It's cool.
Oh, my God.
Which was also an escape tunnel for
Yeah.
mob members when the FBI came to town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
That's pretty
don't
cool.
like that.
And the fact that Arlington Hotel was set up just perfectly so I could watch downtown and
Yep.
make sure nobody was coming up. That was
Like,
pretty
don't get me wrong, that's cool, but that's also the same reason why France makes me so leery, because I would love to go visit Paris, but then you find out that there's, like, catacombs that kind of a similar situation, but the whole, city of Paris, and people get lost down there. Like, they'll go down there to party and just never show up again.
I just don't go to the catacombs.
cool. Yeah. Plain simple.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Other cool thing about Hot Springs, for baseball fans, you guys would love it. I personally am a huge baseball fan, and there was so much history involved with Hot Springs and the baseball organization. It was actually the first spring training sites for the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the entire MLB at the time.
It was the entire MLB at the time, which is most major teams of today.
So is that also where they started corking bats, was Hot Springs?
I don't know, but we learned about Babe Ruth.
Yes.
And how he hit a home run from I think it was like right behind
It was-
the
it was
Ohio Club.
It was a 500-yard home run.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot remember where it was. 500 yard or 500 foot? I feel like 500 yards
500
is insane.
foot.
500 yard is
Yeah.
like
500 foot.
Foot.
Yeah, 500 foot home run.
he's
I'm
not a man.
I'm not big into baseball, but 500 foot home run. It was hit from the parking lot of, I want to say you're right, it was the Ohio Club into the alligator farm.
Yep, and an alligator actually ate the baseball. According to
They-
legend,
they
an
never could
alligator
find
ate
the baseball.
Yeah, it'd be 1,500 feet.
If he can hit a baseball
That's
5
half a mile. That's a quarter
football,
of a mile.
that's 5
Yeah.
football fields.
Yeah.
Like if that were the case, then definitely they've got him somewhere in a lab still experimenting on him to this day. Dang.
Another talking about just the travel part of Hot Springs being it is very, very affordable. The drive wasn't bad at all.
No.
It was basically a straight shot for us, but I mean for other people it might be different for you
I
guys
mean-
of course, but
Yeah, if you live in Washington State.
Well, it was cool too, because I don't know if I've ever been, and you can fill me in on this, but I have no memory of ever going to Tunica, or
No.
even through Tunica.
You have been through, but you didn't stop.
Yeah, I've always been.
So we
here.
actually got to go through Tunica, and
Yeah,
that was pretty cool for me.
yeah. I really wanted to stop, but I knew we had somewhere
we,
to be.
we had places to be. We couldn't
Yeah,
stop.
but I mean, the thing is, though, you didn't see it in the heyday.
Yeah.
I mean, it's went down a lot since.
Yeah, it was like one or two big casinos.
I think, about 3 casinos there now.
Yeah.
There were 3 casinos in one strip mall. There's like,
I'm talking
10.
about.
We're talking like
I'm about the big
casino
name
casinos.
the Gold Rush is still there. The what was that other one that I called?
Harris still there?
Is the what?
Harris.
Yeah,
Harris is the big one.
Yes, Harris
don't-
was still there.
Harris was still there.
Yeah, because I distinctively remember a big H somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know if it was Harris, but it sounds like Harris. It's
Yeah, I
big
mean,
H.
they had a good idea with it when they first opened it. They thought that they'd bring in a lot of money, a lot of revenue into the state, and it never panned out. I think a lot of it because the fact is it just didn't have anything else but
Gambling.
the gambling.
Well, you got to think too with the Riverboat casinos being right there in Louisiana. And,
Yeah.
I mean, they've been established for way longer.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, you take Vegas for instance.
No.
Vegas has, even though it is known for its gambling, there's so much more to
True.
do
Well,
in Vegas than
They
just
got your
gambling.
shows,
Yeah,
you got just your
somebody,
sightseeing.
somebody that doesn't even want to gamble at all can go to Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And spend a week.
It actually sounds really boring, but I want to go to the sign graveyard in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, just stuff like that that's there. I mean, you've got, not to mention just the nature side of it, the hiking, the outdoor side of it. I mean, it's one of the biggest, I think I'm right on this. It's one of the biggest river racing, riverboat racing,
Don't quote me on that.
speedboats.
I don't know about those
in the
big
country.
You know what I do know is in Vegas, though? Gold and silver pawn shop.
There. But and that's the thing. It would still be cool to go to Tunica, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
I think it'd be fun to just spend a weekend down there. Of course, you can't spend a week because there's nothing to do but gamble. But
I mean, they have good shows
It's in the
too.
middle
I
of
mean, they
nowhere.
do have some concerts. That,
No.
for y'all, it probably wouldn't be as interesting because it's a lot of the older performers that are
No.
coming there. But
Well, that depends on, too. You talk about it's only gambling. Like, you can go there for a week depending on how much you like to gamble. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I'd go there for a week, but I'm gonna walk home.
Yeah, come
Because
home
I've
with nothing.
gambled my car.
Yeah, it's all gone.
No.
Mortgage, car.
That's one of them. You come down from the hotel room. He's just sitting
that means
there.
you're not a good gambler.
It is what it is.
That's the thing. Like, I wouldn't even say a gambling addict, because you can have a gambling addict that's a great gambler and he does fine. You know.
But yeah, I think Tunica would be another good trip on weekends. Hot Springs is a great trip on weekends if you ever get the opportunity.
Which, when we go back, we're going to check out the Magic Springs water park there.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get to go to this. We didn't have time.
And
How big is it?
Magic Springs is pretty big.
Is it even open?
Yeah.
Yes.
Arkansas actually never closed due to the COVID.
No
era.
Coronas.
Really?
Yeah.
Arkansas said the pigs don't carry Coronas. They done got us with the swine flu. No more. Never again.
I ought to hit you. But Jordan actually made a good point while we were traveling through, and it warmed my heart a lot because I've never noticed it. But didn't you say that Arkansans are extremely prideful interstate.
Oh yeah. No, I mean I don't remember, but 3 or 4 houses that didn't have an Arkansas flag flying.
That's cool.
You know, and that's not something you see all over the country, and I think it
Texas.
should be. Yeah, Texas, definitely.
That's about it.
But you know, even in Alabama, we don't have that. We don't have everyone flying the Alabama flag.
To be fair, our flag's kind of lame.
Well, I mean, the Arkansas flag's not that much better.
I've never seen it, so I wouldn't
Watch your
know.
mouth.
I mean, it's not though. It's not some grand thing. It's a flag that says Arkansas, and it's got the diamond around it that's in the style of the Confederate States.
And before some, and by that I mean most of our viewers come down on me, I understand the history and the meaning all behind the Alabama flag, but let's be real, it's a white flag with a big red X on it. That's just not...
Well, it's a Spanish flag. That's
Yeah.
where it originated.
Yeah,
But it warmed my heart to, because I guess I've never really paid attention to it.
Yeah.
Growing up there, but looking back at it now, it's like, yeah, you know, Arkansans are pretty proud of where we come from, and there's a lot to offer in our state, such as hot springs, and there's going to be multiple other trips I plan on taking and exploring other parts of my state that I haven't really got to pay that close of attention to, like Eureka Springs and
Eureka Springs is nice.
you've been.
I wouldn't even say my state, because it's not my state, but just, and I referenced it earlier, St. Louis, we need to take a trip to St. Louis. The zoo is ridiculous. It is the biggest public zoo, it's not a private zoo, in America, I want to say. Because I think it's San Diego private, or is it public?
I have no idea. I don't do zoos.
I know San Diego's the biggest, but like
zoos are your thing.
Yeah, St. Louis is huge, and they've got so much stuff. I spent literally 2.5 hours just in the reptile house. Like, that's how much stuff they've got, and they've got everything. And it's like, you just go. It's free. You don't have to buy a ticket or anything.
No.
And that's just another really pretty area. You would know. You were up near St. Louis.
Yeah, I've been to St. Louis before, and
Leonard
Branson,
was-
Missouri.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Branson's cool.
Fort Leonard Wood, unfortunately.
Well, you know, I'll tell you too. I don't know how much time you've got to spend there, but we need We need to make a trip to Atlanta.
I love Atlanta.
I've been to Atlanta, I think, only twice.
Yeah.
Atlanta's one of my favorite places in the world to go. It's so awesome, especially when you go to like downtown Atlanta, where all like the major like 5-star hotels are, like where they have Dragon Con, which is just like basically Comic-Con but in the South. It's like 5 hotels like Marriott, Hilton, like big name hotels, but they're all like pentagon together with sky bridges. It's just so crazy to see. If you're an architecture guy, which I am, it's ridiculous some of the buildings they've got in Atlanta.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just beyond that, you know, they've got the World of Coke. They've got Six Flags over Georgia.
Dude, the World of Coke is so cool.
Oh yeah, no, I love that place. They've got the aquarium.
Oh yeah,
It's like the Jack.
I'm glad you brought that up. I've never been to an aquarium.
Really?
Never been to an aquarium.
Actually, me and my wife was talking about going to the ATL and actually seeing the aquarium there.
Their aquarium's really good.
You ever seen the World of Coke there?
I've never had enough time in Atlanta. I went there for the SEC championship game a long time ago. I think it was Arkansas and Florida.
It's literally the
was
Jack
missing
Daniels
out.
factory, but Coke. Like, it's so cool. You have all the Cokes from around the world. You can try them.
They show you the whole the process and the history,
like how it was invented.
Yeah.
They don't let you do. They don't let
Is
you
it
do
like the
cocaine.
Coke version of like Hershey, Pennsylvania?
The Hershey Museum in it.
Kind of, it sort of is.
Yeah.
I've never been to Hershey. So
The Hershey factory is not as
Okay, it's a factory.
it's not as detailed as the Coke is.
No, like you'll spend like a long time there just on like the talking.
Oh, yeah, like
Another one
3
like that
hours.
headed north, Tennessee, has an amazing aquarium.
That's what I was
And the Jelly Belly factory. If you got a sweet tooth like I do, they take you through kind of like the Coke factory, how they make all of their sweets, like gummies, jelly beans, and at the end they take you to this big shop. And of course you can buy stuff, but there's just everything that Jelly Belly makes. You can just get after it. You just talk to somebody and they're like, "Here's a scoop full of whatever." Like,
Well, you know, and that's kind of like the World of Coke. There's an area right at the end of it that has all of the different Coke products from around the world that you can try, and then I think that's another room, but you go into it and it's got all of them for purchase.
oh, they have like the cherry blossom Coke from Japan.
Oh yeah, they've got that. They've got several, and this was one of the weirdest ones to me. There are several different flavors and styles of Coke from Germany,
Yes.
and they're like all bitter. Like there's very little sweetness to them.
It's actually like a big German thing too, because I love like German sweets, like confection,
Yeah.
and all of their pastries are like super, super, super decadent, but all of their beverages are like drinking sour straws, like all of them, like bitter Coke, bitter beer. Like they don't like sweet for their drinks.
Isn't there a clear Coke also?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
I used to know the name of this, but it was like their answer to like Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah.
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 I don't think I've ever had.
There's
that.
also like a Coke Mountain Dew. It's really weird.
Crystal Pepsi's kind of a weird thing too. Just if you've never had it.
I don't think they make it anymore, do they?
They did. They brought it back because there was a YouTuber, I can't remember his name. He did the Crystal Pepsi challenge, and he found one from 40 years ago or whatever and drank it and just did not hold it down very long. It was a bad situation. I think he had to be
wonder
hospitalized
why.
over that one.
Yeah, they don't keep. It's radioactive.
I mean, it was.
Real quick, going back to Hot Springs, or just Arkansas in general, for our paranormal fans out there, that is the place to be.
Well, there and we went to Savannah, Georgia.
Come on, y'all. Every town says they're the paranormal place to be.
Okay, I'll give you that every town says they're the
just-
paranormal place to be, but I've got the end all be all. I want to take a big group trip. I would love to vlog it for you guys. I want to go to the Winchester house. Oh my God, you want to talk about paranormal? Not even because of the ghost aspect, but because she was crazy. Like stairs that go to nowhere, like doors that open into walls, whole floors that you can't even get over into the room because there's no way in, but it's a whole like other part of the mansion. It's crazy.
Well, in Hot Springs, the Arlington Hotel is actually the second most haunted place in Hot Springs. I mean, in Arkansas, my bad. And Arkansas actually has the most haunted place in the United States, and that's the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs.
No, I have heard about the Crescent Hotel. That's supposed to be. Isn't that the one with the pirate?
Haunted.
Yeah, we got a non-believer over
You gotta be a
there.
believer if you're gonna get into this kind of stuff. But
Yeah, we've got a.
that's what I was talking about. Is Savannah, Georgia. We got to go there. And
Oh, God,
they
Savannah.
they had a lot of ghost tours and stuff, and we did see some cool stuff. There was a lot of, even if it wasn't about the ghost aspect
Well,
of
it's
it.
the history of it.
Yeah, there was a lot of Civil War stuff
I
there.
mean, I've been to New Orleans,
Yeah,
voodoo capital of the world.
Oh,
that's
man.
true.
And been on the ghost tours where they were haunted, and it was.
Didn't you go
me
into one of
walking
the?
around for 2.5 hours?
Didn't you go into one of the voodoo shops though, and like
Oh,
that
yeah.
was surreal? It was like just all
Yeah,
the stuff
I
they
mean,
had.
yeah, I mean, it's.
well, I mean, we went into one of the voodoo or 2 or 3 of the voodoo
we
shops
went
actually.
in, whatever that woman's name is. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Voodoo Queen.
Yeah.
Oh, I know you're
Her
talking about like
shop.
the ultimate like
Yeah,
voodoo witch.
Her shop.
Yeah,
We went in her shop, but I mean,
or priestess rather.
I mean, but I don't know. A lot of people like that kind of stuff.
That's not his thing.
I dig
I mean,
it.
I like the macabre.
I'm
You
all
know,
about
that's-
it, man.
That's why I like St. Augustine so much, because the Torture Museum is there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I want to go see that.
Well, torture and hauntings are two different
Well,
things.
I like them for the same reason though.
yeah,
It's
'Cause
all
it's
for the
just
macabre.
One,
Yeah, it's
one
just
could
dark.
lead up to the other.
that's
probably.
true. One usually leads up to the other, which we got a lot of places here in Alabama that just like super like paranormal areas. Like we've got
We've got 13. We've got
Yeah, we've got 13. The
places.
13 Ghosts of Alabama. I read the book. Yeah.
There's,
Yeah, I
only,
did
there's
too.
only 13 though.
It's like the hole that never fills. Of course, every town has a town next door that has Gravity Hill. We've got one literally 15 minutes from where we're sitting right now.
Yeah.
Got the courthouse with the woman in the window that they can't. They've changed the window.
Changed the window 100
25
times,
and
yeah.
they can't get the woman out of the glass. And
There's actually one real close. Like real close. It's like there was a witch.
Oh, you know about the witch's grave?
Yeah, witch's grave.
Yeah, I've actually been out there. That's just bullcrap.
Yeah.
That's just your local.
Yeah.
And then of course up in Tennessee, the one I want to go to is the Bell Witch Woods.
Yeah.
That seems cool. That's what the Blair Witch Project movies
Yeah.
was based on, and that's like supposed to be really cool.
One of my least favorite movies ever.
Yeah, it was awesome the first couple.
liked it.
It's good the first
I
couple
don't
watches.
like the way it was filmed.
That was the point.
Yeah, I don't like the way that was filmed.
To each their own.
That
It's
just gives
more
me
GoPro.
motion sickness.
It was before GoPro. It was back when we had the VHS tape,
yeah, if that had a GoPro, smooth as butter.
Yeah.
which they did remake one like Blair Witch Chronicles or whatever with a
No.
GoPro later, and it was worse.
I didn't even watch that one. That was so stupid. But no, there's plenty of places in just this area
Yeah,
to
down
go.
in the
And
south.
wherever you're at, I'm sure there's a lot of areas that you can just take a weekend trip, and I highly recommend
Yeah,
it.
don't be afraid to get out. I mean, like I said a while ago, it was very budget friendly.
No.
Didn't break the bank at all.
Which, if you're not like big city kind of person or like ghost kind of person, gambling, whatever, a lot of natural especially down here, because like I said, I know a lot of our viewers are southern. A lot of natural, just like hiking, camping.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that around here.
Water, like
we've got Bankhead National Forest.
Where is that actually? I'm hearing two different things. Is it in Tennessee or is it here in Alabama?
It's in both.
It's both. It's
Well,
huge.
Okay.
Yeah, Bankhead's actually huge.
It's massive.
That's like Natchez Trace. Everyone's like, oh yeah, Natchez Trace in Mississippi. Natchez Trace goes a long way. It's massive.
Yeah, and I
It goes
hate
from
driving on it.
Natchez, Mississippi to I believe it's Macon, Georgia.
Yeah, it's massive.
The entire length of it.
You can get up into Tennessee through it and stuff. Like it is. It is a trail.
It's a beautiful, beautiful drive.
Well, you want to talk about like national parks or like federal reserve land, like the Trace, like Bankhead, like we got them everywhere down here, and
Oh, yeah.
that's why everyone's state down here is like, yeah, we've got Bankhead, we've got Natchez, like so does everyone else in the Bible Belt. That's how big they are.
Well, just like the what's the one on this side? APC.
Yeah.
AT.
Yeah, the AT.
The AT.
Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
It spans the length of the country.
It's the AT that goes from the southern coast all the way up to Canada. Then you've got the CDT that's in middle, like Midwest America, that
It
runs
goes
the
from
same.
Mexico. It goes from Mexico border to the Canadian border,
And then the PCT's California line.
and it goes from Mexico to Canada.
Yeah.
No.
Which you actually, the AT is you actually get on it in Georgia.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're going south and north, you get on it in Georgia. If you're going north to south, you get on it in Maine.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes all the way up to the oven mitt.
I'd actually like to have my packing list and actually do that one day.
That one, in my opinion, is the coolest just because with the other two, you start a defense and you end a defense. But with the AT, you start down by the ocean and you end by the ocean. Like, there's no fence.
Yeah, like I said, it'd be nice to have a packing list so I can go on these excursions.
But we hiked in and backpacked in Bankhead.
Yes.
It is some of the most beautiful country. I mean, it's amazing.
I'll tell you another thing that's right here near us. It's great for if you like foot trails, or what most people know it for is if you're a big motorcycle fan, the Dragon, and the Tail of the Dragon specifically. It's like a huge winding mountain. I forget how long it is, and it's a motorcycle. Like they do like trail rides all the way up it. It's awesome, and then of course you got hiking up down through there. But it's called the Dragon because it's like snaky.
No, well, I mean, you take a weekend trip.
Yeah.
It's well worth it.
Yeah, I encourage everybody to actually like get out and
That's
see
my
your,
favorite
see your
thing to
state
do.
or see somebody else's state, and then let us know about it.
Well, and compare it,
Bring
right? Like we have a lot of pine forest, a lot of your like your evergreen kind of environments around here, a few cypress, but then you had
Actually, got one right out here.
yeah, and then you had like 2 states over, and it's like nothing but oak, like hardwood, like.
I don't know about all that, but I know you can head south here, and you can hit swamps. You can hit, the coastline.
Hit the citrus trees.
Uh-huh.
That's actually my favorite part of going to Florida is whenever you hit that one point. It's actually before the Florida line where you don't smell anything and you just smell salt and oranges like in your car. It's so cool.
Well, but that's right at Flobama, which is one of the cooler areas where everything starts switching over from Alabama to Florida because Alabama's really locked down as far as the laws go, and then Florida really opens up.
Yeah, you go.
You go down to Gulf Shores and all that.
Well, you can stop at
It
the
don't
gas.
exist anymore.
You can stop at the gas station and go to the gas station and it's like a little 6-pack of like whatever you want, and then literally the next gas station over in Florida, it's like we have double 40s for 99 cents because that's how we roll. And if you want to pop them open, nobody's gonna say anything. Like, it's crazy. It's lawless down there. Them Florida people.
It's definitely not lawless. Definitely not anymore.
Look,
So don't go try that.
all I gotta say is Google Florida man and your birthday, and I promise you, lawless.
But speaking of like the trails and stuff that we hike and everything,
No.
I think
don't put this "we" in there. We can hike.
we
Well,
will hike.
Before we get to that, we've been talking about the AT, the Continental Divide Trail, and the Pacific Crest Trail. I watched a documentary today, and I found a 4th trail.
Oh, really?
It's called the Hayduke Trail.
Hey, Hay?
Hayduke. It's 800 miles. It's a through hike, and it's considered one of the most challenging hikes in the United States.
And it's not even a crown.
No, it's not a crown. It's not one of the Triple Crowns. And the thing is, it's also shorter than any of the Triple Crowns, but it's literally Triple Crown through hikers have hiked the Hayduke and said it was the toughest hike they've ever hiked.
And it's only, like, for people that don't know, the through hike for the Triple Crown, which is like you're considered a legendary American hiker if you do all of them, each one, total altogether, it's like 7,000 miles.
It's not that much. It's 12.
I thought one of them was like 24. I thought the PCT was like 2,400.
I'm saying though, AT's 12, Continental Divide is like 12 something. 20. It may be 24, but so yeah, I mean
It'd be like 48.
So closer to 48 then.
But this thing,
But still, that's thousands
this
of
thing
miles.
is 800 miles, and what it does is it takes you through all of Utah's national parks.
Like the canyons and stuff?
You go through all. That's what it is. You're canyon hiking the entire. You're basically going through it. It's not a well traveled trail.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a lot of unmarked.
Like free hiking, like go out and just do it.
So you're having to rely a lot on your maps. They are some markers on the trail, but it goes through Utah, dips down into Arizona, but you hit all the canyons.
Yeah.
And the documentary I'm watching, which I haven't finished watching it yet. It's an episode documentary, but the guy, he is a what you consider a avid hiker, and he is struggling with it in places. I mean, and he's everybody tells him don't do it, by yourself, and that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He didn't start out doing it by himself, but all of his companions have fallen off the wayside. He's continuing through with it, but
One of those do as I say, not as I do kind of deals.
but if it's on, which I'll
no, I'm
plug
trying to get my facts straight.
I'll plug the. Let me pull it up real quick. I don't want to actually watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. If you got Amazon Prime, it's on their videos. It's called Figure It Out on the Hayduke Trail. If you get a chance to check it out, do. It's a good documentary, and it really shows the landscape. I mean, you see a lot of stuff, and you got to understand that area. I've been to Utah snow skiing, but I've never been during the summer.
Yeah.
That area is very unique in what you see there. I mean, you've got Bryce Canyon, you've got all these different national parks that, even though they're so close together, they're also so much different.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, from what I've seen in Utah, I mean, I was there on accident because somebody with a higher rank than me couldn't read a map. And how we get from Washington State to Utah and just completely ignore the fact that we had to go through Oregon, I'll never know. But Utah is a very, very pretty state. And
Where were you going?
Wandering in the desert for 40 years.
Yakima Valley, Washington, got snowed in. We were having to take an alternate route and go through the Dalles, Oregon, which I don't know if anybody knows that at. It's down on Columbia River.
By
and
a map.
just basically make a big U and then come back up into Washington. But somewhere in that U, we forgot to make the arch and just broke it off.
Instead of the U, we just kept going.
Next thing I'm seeing, welcome to Utah. And I'm like, this is dang near 3 states down.
How did we not even get anywhere near like a sign to find out?
It's like, how are we even here right now?
That's one of them Bermuda Triangle teleported kind of deals.
Yeah.
Went through a time rift.
Yeah, well, explain that one to the chain of command. That was fun.
Oh, man.
But Utah is very pretty, and I'd like to see it during the summer instead of blizzard conditions. But
I want to go out and hike Bryce at least. I want to go out and see them, all the monuments and stuff. And when I say the monuments, of course, it's the rock formations and everything.
Yeah.
Well, if you're real big on like the American indigenous like hiking, camping, that's like where everyone goes to do it. Utah, Arizona, like.
Well, and you don't deal with the same problems that you deal with like on the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
you're not going to see your bears. You're not going to see those type of things.
Snakes, though.
I mean, yeah, you're going to see a lot of snakes.
You're going to see them poisonous snakes, venomous
but
snakes.
You're not going to be. I mean, coyotes, wolves, maybe some cats of some kind that you may have to deal with. Some, but it's not the same thing.
I'll never forget you telling me about that one documentary you were watching on. I think it was the AT. When that woman ran into that bobcat, and she's sitting there staring at it.
No, that's a fellow YouTuber. That's something.
Mountain lion.
Or was it a mountain lion?
Yeah.
What is her name? Because I love her videos. It's something
She's
something Wanderlust.
Yes, but she's from Auburn, Alabama.
Yeah, she's
actually Opelika, and she graduated from Auburn.
Yeah, home state. She's actually a big inspiration for me on why I want to start doing all this.
And she is a triple crowner. I mean, she has actually hiked all of them.
So shout out to you. Hopefully you see this. That'd be awesome.
But I mean, it's amazing to watch her. I mean, if you find her on there, it's very.
Reference to one of our last videos. If you happen to start watching through them, you bad. you good.
But y'all went to Hot Springs. I went to Chattanooga for a few days, and
I went to bed this
my intentions was to do some hiking while I was in Chattanooga, do some, hike up around Lookout Mountain, Rock City, all that kind of stuff, Ruby Falls, around that area. But due to our current situation with COVID, most of that was closed, so we chose not to, but
Can you not start a fight with our overlords?
I've got something I want to run by y'all because I thought it was pretty interesting, and it's 10 things people do on hiking trails that park rangers can't stand.
I'll say what I did before: leave their crack pipes.
But this that would be definitely a can't stand.
Good thing I don't think Mississippi. Oh,
wait a
but
minute.
This is not only this. Let me reference this, and the fact is that also other hikers don't like a lot of this that takes place, and unfortunately we live in a world today where you're seeing more of this. I went and did the Rubicon Trail in Lake Tahoe, California.
that's so awesome.
One of the probably the most beautiful area I've ever been in, and yet on this trail there was empty water bottles, there was power bar, and they are meticulous about going through and cleaning this up. So this is something that happens on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And when you go on a hike, when you go on any kind of an adventure like that, you want to be immersed in it. And there's nothing worse than to be looking at at a wonderful scenery or taking a picture of wonderful scenery and have to stop your picture to go over and move somebody's garbage.
Well, that's actually, talk about that. I can't remember the first part of her YouTube channel. Maybe we can get a pin in the description or something. But the Wanderlust girl, I was watching her do the PCT. And she hit a certain point where there was actually like a crew, like a road crew, like you would find on the highway. And she's like, "What are you guys doing?" They're like, "Well, we love like the hiking experience, but we really don't feel like we can do it. So we just come out here and clean. We clean everything up. We like redo the trails where you can kind of see where the trails are, and like year-round job. These people just picking up trash because of how people just disrespect it.
And that's kind of a point. I went kayaking with a guy one time, and he had a really at the time I was like, man, that really doesn't matter. But now, after seeing the trails, after seeing our waterways and stuff, it really does matter to me. Mm-hmm. He would take it as far as he would field strip his cigarettes. He was a smoker, and he'd pull all the paper off, wad it up, put it in his pocket, and toss the cotton to the side.
Biodegradable.
Exactly, it's biodegradable.
Yeah.
And the paper is also, but
Field stripping cigarettes.
Homemade Wanderlust.
Homemade Wanderlust.
There you go.
You're awesome. Hopefully you see this one day. Maybe we do a collab because we are all trying to get into some through hiking one of these days.
Yeah.
So it would be great to have you on and get some experience. Fingers crossed.
Okay, 10 things.
all right, let's run these 10 things.
Number 10, hikers taking wildflowers and other items from the trail. Don't do that.
Like picking daisies and stuff.
Take a picture of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to die. If you pull it up out of the ground, if you pick it, it's going to die. Don't go through taking up and making a bouquet of flowers, because what you've done is you've taken away something that someone else will never get to experience.
Yes.
Take a picture of it. We all tote our phones. We all have cameras. So just take a picture of it.
Yeah, especially in the modern age with your iPhones and your Samsungs, most of you are walking around with a like studio grade camera in your pocket.
Yeah. Well, and you know, exactly like you said, you've taken something away from someone else at that point.
Yeah.
Because even though, yes, it will grow back, it will not grow back by the time the next person passes through.
That's right. I mean, and that's the thing.
Yeah, we'll grow back an hour.
You're missing. You're depriving someone the opportunity to see something. And you say, well, I just took a few of them. Well, if everyone took a few of them, guess what? There wouldn't be none of them.
Yeah.
Number 9, people insisting they can go into places that are off limits.
Guilty.
There's a reason they are off limits to hikers.
Bears.
Well, not just that. You've got wildlife problems. You have terrain problems. You have problems where and getting in. If you want to elaborate on the terrain problems, the number one reason why a area may be off limits because of terrain is because if something happens to you, it's very difficult to get to you.
Well, I mean, even going into the wildlife, there are certain ecosystems out there that are extremely sensitive, and maintaining those ecosystems requires keeping people out.
Well,
you can be ruining an endangered species just by going and walking around, and you'll never know it.
Yeah, like the fish, whenever they built the dam and all those fish died, that was like a very rare fish down in Tennessee.
Yeah.
But talking about that, like that one is a serious big deal on the getting to you, because I know I've talked about it before, in EMS class, one of the things we did was we had to run a field simulation, and we did it on it's a federal park. It's up with some Tennessee Valley Authority property. I won't name any specific names, but we were up there doing that, and our instructor took one of our classmates down and put her like just kind of out of the way, but still on the main trail to get to her. And even with paved road where he had her, it was a fight to get down to her, and an even bigger fight to get her out. Now, if it's that much of a fight on paved road, imagine how much harder of a fight it's going to be, not only on a trail road, but off in the middle of nowhere on the side of the trail road.
And to go off limits, most time you got to bushwhack.
Yeah.
So you're just causing a lot of problems that doesn't necessarily have to be caused, because there's so many things that you can do on trail, so many things you can see on trail. I mean, these people that develop these trails, they do it for a reason.
Well, not just that, they develop it in such a way that they don't deprive you of anything.
No, I mean,
you have just as much a chance of seeing all this stuff if you go down there or if you just stay on the main trail. So just stay on the main trail.
I like how you guys say, like, don't mess with the wildlife, when they actually had to tell us, for the love of God, don't shoot the wildlife.
Well, don't mess with them at all. Like, don't get involved.
You know how many times we have to be told, don't shoot it. We're like 20 deep, AR. Like, no, don't do that.
But like, and it's something, if you're a deep forest like trailblazer, hiker, explorer like we are when we do our rucks, because you followed behind, especially at night. You don't want to bushwhack. Bushwhacking sucks. You move with the land as much as you can, because it's just so much easier on you. It's easier on the environment. There's a trail for a reason. Like,
well, I remember you telling me when y'all were up in Washington, those massive anthills, and they're protected.
Yes.
They're huge, and just like that. Oh, you want to see some ants, so you just whack an axe into it. How much was the fine?
$10,000.
$10,000.
to like just mess it up.
Yep.
Yes.
Dang.
Because they're protected.
Yeah.
It's not the army ants. It's what are they?
I'm actually not sure. I mean, I've never gotten to the point. Well, I've been as close to them to me as you.
Yeah.
But I've never seen them personally because they're inside the mountain.
Yeah.
But I have no idea what they look like.
Just leave it alone.
Well, they're like trees when the ant hills are that big. Like, they've got underground root systems that may stretch 100 yards for those ants.
Number 8. We've already touched on this one. When visitors leave trash behind.
Yeah.
This is repeating the same thing.
If you pack it in, pack it out.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's that simple. I mean, and especially if you're going on a huge hike. And I will say this. Hikers, when I say hikers, backpackers.
Yeah.
Yes, backpackers.
Are not as bad about leaving trash as campers.
Or campers, yes.
Yeah, campers will just set up a site and then like you find it easy.
Yeah, I mean, and because and a lot of times it's because they're dealing with so much more trash. I mean, if you're backpacking, especially if you're multi-day backpacking, you're breaking your food down to make it lighter, so you're getting rid of cardboard, you're getting rid of any plastic. You've got Ziploc bags that you're going to throw back in your pack when you're done. So, I mean, it's not as bad, but when you're camping with the family, when I say camping, I mean pulling up there with the camper, and you've got the barbecue grill and all that stuff.
Yeah, not camping like we talk about camping.
You've got the full range of it. Well, don't do that either. Take it with you. Put it in your camper, throw it away.
I was going to say, that gives you less of an excuse, especially if you're a modern camper, motorhomer kind of person, because literally you have a giant trash can you're just carrying around with you everywhere.
But I mean, and they will though, especially if the campsite may offer a garbage can there, they'll just overflow that thing. Yeah. Don't do that. I mean, because you number one, you're attracting wildlife into that campsite. It's dangerous for the people that are there. It's dangerous for the wildlife itself.
Key point: we go to Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg almost yearly. Yeah. Because my wife's parents have a timeshare or a condo or something up there. So we go pretty regular. Yeah. To work the trash cans there, you need a degree. Period.
Well, they're bear-proof.
Well, they're bear-proof, exactly.
Right.
And that's why they're bear-proof. So now you've eliminated a lot of that problem. Mm-hmm. But you still can't overflow them because then you can't lock them back down.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that were in my packing list was like a waste disposal bag for...
When I was going to say a big facet of my pack, and this is just like, you can call it tactically sound or smart thinking, whatever you want to call it, but if
I don't think it's going to be smart if it's coming from you.
ever PG-13, PG-13. But anyway, if we ever get to do our packs,
blur that out.
My whole list is centered on not leaving a footprint, because the last thing you want is to get off in the woods and have somebody following you and easily figure out where you are. I mean, if you're leaving a trail of trash, just like Hansel and Gretel breadcrumbs, just right to you. I don't want that. I don't want people knowing where I'm at if I'm going out in the woods. I want to be low-key, just move with the environment, with the flow.
Now, are you hiking or hiding from the law?
I mean, you never know. Both. It's good to get practice in.
You want people to know where you're at.
Well, no, because that's the thing. Like, it's good to practice both, right? So you have people that know where you're at. You're like, hey, I'm going out in this location. This is where I'll be. But once you get there, like, don't leave trail of trash. Don't leave breadcrumbs. Like, you never know. There may be an axe murderer in those woods.
He's gonna look at it. I'm looking at you, Fed boys. You'll never catch me.
This is me throwing down the gauntlet. No,
okay, before the tie hoes pull up. Number 7.
Bring them on.
When people ignore important rules, keeping food safe from bears. Every campsite you go to, every hiking trail you take, every established hiking trail you take has rules. They're always posted on a sign somewhere at the beginning of that campsite or in the literature that you have signed, or whether you're going on a hike, it'll be posted on the start of the trail.
Yeah. Right here. We live in the technological age. It is posted on the sign. It is posted in the literature that you have signed. It is posted in any brochures. But it is also posted online.
It's also in an app. A lot of them have apps.
You have no reason not to know the rules of a trail.
Personal story involving bears and trails.
And anecdote.
Washington State is full of wildlife, and they're super friendly, unlike here. You can just walk up to deer, elk, whatever you want to do, and pet them.
Go pet a bear. No, don't go pet a bear.
Okay, number 1, do not go pet an elk either.
Yeah, they will tear you up.
I did, and it was cool. All right.
We are not advocating petting of wild animals, first of all.
Reason why we're not doing our scripted video session... Also pets elk. What does that tell you?
But there was a time, like, we were petting so many deer, and, like, chipmunks would run up to us and stuff, and we were, like, feeding them and everything. Park rangers were cool with it. Something was rustling in the bushes.
Were the park rangers cool with it?
Yeah.
I didn't think so.
There was something big in the bushes, and one of my buddies was like, oh, sweet, another deer. Let's go pet it. Got up right to the bush. Black bear. And he's like, maybe I ought to not pet this one. It was like, yeah, no.
Was this on an exercise, or was this on just
this
y'all
personal time?
Okay. But say, there's a big difference in you hiking with an M16 and...
That goes back to what I said a while ago. Don't shoot it.
Don't shoot it.
But if you're talking about, just keeping food safe from bears, if you're in an area where bears are at, there's many different ways of keeping your food safe. There's many ways you can buy things. There's bear vaults. There's bear bags.
Bear
all this stuff that this is to keep your food safe.
I'm like,
But
let's season my food with bear mace.
But I'm going to scale it down a little bit because, you know, here's what you run into. You should always be food conscious when you're camping, when you're hiking, because even though you may not be in an area where there's bears, you're in an area where there are raccoons.
Yeah.
And you think, well, what's a raccoon going to do? A raccoon will tear you up.
Well, hold on before you say you're not in a region with bears. Bears' like territory range is like 100 miles, and it's because they can smell food ridiculous distances.
Well, I mean, like where we are here right now,
No.
you're not going to run into a black bear.
True.
No.
True.
But you're going to run into raccoons, and more importantly, skunks.
Oh Lord. Look, here's the thing. Even if it don't eat you, doesn't mean it can't hurt you.
Correct.
Dude, a raccoon. I know everybody loves the trash panda. Look at this raccoon with his little hands on the like internet memes, whatever. I've never once met a raccoon in real life that has ever been anything like that. Every raccoon I've ever seen in the wild is bared fangs, bristled back, rushing you down.
Well,
like
it's a wild animal.
It ends with it usually getting pieced up.
I'll tell you a story about a raccoon and just how crazy they are. We set out, we were having a lot of problems with like pests, like really small pest squirrels. Like, I can't remember the specific breed of squirrel, not like the cute little like tree squirrel, like the really big
Fox squirrel.
Yeah, fox squirrels. We had a fox squirrel cage out, live trap, so we could catch it, relocate it. We go out there to check our trap, and he's got to be at least 10-year-old boar raccoon, easily 30 pound, is squeezed all the way in that trap so deep that every single square on the cage had fur poking out and fat at least an inch. And the only reason it couldn't get back out was it got in there so deep that it triggered the door, and the door caught on its back like this. So every time it tried to back up, that door would pull down. We had to cut it out of the cage, and it did get pieced up because there was no way we were live trapping. There was no safe way to get it out.
Number 6. This is one too.
No, this is just common sense.
This is. I don't like picking on. I don't like saying this generation or that generation.
But it is.
But you're seeing more of this because of Instagram, because of Facebook, because of Snapchat, Twitter, all these things that we have now. The number 6 thing that park rangers can't stand that people do on trail: taking selfies and pictures in dangerous places. How many videos are there out there right now on YouTube of last minutes caught on camera, and it's selfies or videos of, and the majority of them are taking place in nature.
Yep.
Because somebody's like, hey, I'm gonna try this. We're gonna I'm gonna hang you off the side of this cliff, and we're gonna take a picture of you, or I want you to go out there and scale that rock and get up on it, or the best ones, well, not the best ones, but the funniest ones to me are the ones where they're out at the ocean.
The funniest ones where people don't die.
And
don't get us YouTube.
And they're out there on the ocean at the rocks, and they're just taking pictures. Usually it may be a woman in a nice dress, something like that, just taking pictures. Yeah. And by that time, a 10-foot wave comes in, just wipes out everything.
I thought you were about to be like a 20-foot great white, just crest. No.
The wave, it just knocks them down, and they get cut up and scratched and sometimes hurt bad because for a picture.
They're getting that picture that the wave is supposed to be crashing up behind them, and it looks amazing.
Look at me, I'm the Little Mermaid.
Here's what everyone always forgets: what goes up comes down.
Well, and here's the thing too. I know a lot of it, especially like your like cliff danger kind of thing. I know you're watching the like French, Russian like YouTuber guys that do like the urban parkour, scaling the skyscrapers one-handed and stuff. 2 facts about that. First, that's their job. They've been doing it for a long time. Second, they're idiots. Don't be an idiot.
I mean, bottom line, even if it is their job, they are idiots.
Like, really cool, don't get me wrong. I love watching those videos. I wish I could do what those guys do, but they're stupid.
I mean, they are.
There's a job all around the world. It's a 2-day-a-year job where you have to climb the towers to change the bulbs for the airplane blinkers.
Yeah.
And you should see it takes 18 hours to do it because they are harnessed up, climbing and hooking, and it's still super dangerous.
Yeah.
That's that guy's job too. He is marginally less stupid.
So, I mean, the bottom line is this: that Instagram post, that Facebook post, it's not worth your life.
Well, not just
You're going
that.
to get a lot of likes, but you ain't going to get a lot of people at your funeral.
World star!
Well, that's the thing with that, though. Not only are you endangering yourself, you are now endangering everyone who has seen this post, who got the thought, I'm going to go do that too.
Yeah, monkey see, monkey do. And furthermore, you're endangering the people that has to come get your body, because even harnessed up, that's not a safe job scaling down a 100-foot bluff to pick you up.
No.
Or helicoptered in, whatever you got to do.
I just leave
Bottom
it in there.
line, just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Number 5. When people come to the hike unprepared.
Oh, man.
Don't show
All
up.
right, I'm gonna head out.
This is getting personal. Don't show up with a Disney backpack and the bottle of water to a 4-day hike.
Well, I mean, and unfortunately, experience is the greatest teacher.
Yeah, that's true.
You would think.
Even myself, as much as I've hiked and backpacked and camped and stuff, every hike that I go on, I rethink things.
Yeah.
I look at things, and it all has to do. It's all situational. Where you're going, what time of year you're going, how long you're going to be going, all this stuff. But there's essentials that you should have. And not getting on our pack out, our pack list or our backpacking contest thing
thereof.
that we may get to have one day if the United States government ever releases somebody's equipment.
Oh, I don't think that was their fault. I think that was his fault. don't blame this on the
No, it's all them.
But I mean, there's certain essentials that you should have all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: I've got a bag in my truck that is there for no other reason in case something happens. You say, well, what's going to happen? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. You said the key word. When you pack, you have your essentials. But just because you have your essentials covered doesn't mean you've fully prepared.
Yeah, you've prepared. You're still not necessarily prepared, because then it goes back to what I said. You've got those situational things that needs to be addressed.
You've got your bare necessities.
And Jordan said it earlier. We live in the age of technology. You can YouTube, you can Google search so many packing lists on people that have already went in the area that you're going in, and you say, well, I don't have the money to get those things. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I said it, I think, last week. Backpacking, camping you can make it as expensive or inexpensive as you want it to be.
Well, let's just talk about the money thing real quick, and I will touch on my pack because it's directly relevant to that. We all have kind of a theme. Mine is sort of modern colonial. It's not full survival like indigenous people, because that would be me. But it's modern colonial. Basically, it's stuff they would have that I can use now. My entire pack, not including things I just already owned, I kept my receipts, was $48 for everything. And I promise I have every essential covered. That I know Jordan's got a bunch of high-tech stuff. It's going to be cooler than my stuff. But they accomplished the same goal for $48. That's my whole kit. Now, is it the most modern? Is it the best? No. But I have my bases covered.
Said my pack was more than $48.
Yeah, my pack is a bag, because that's what they had back then.
At least you're getting packs.
But that's the point I wanted to set out to prove is don't overthink, I have to have this $200 backpack. I have to have this $400 water vessel.
I mean, that's the thing.
But I will say this, though.
Ooh, no comment there.
10 years ago to today, camping equipment, backpacking equipment has tremendously decreased.
Yeah, you can go to Walmart and they have a Walmart brand full camping kit.
You can go on Amazon.
Yeah.
And for, I'm going to say easily for $100,
easily, yeah.
you could go on Amazon and have a complete backpacking 3 to 5 day kit that will do everything that you want to do minus food.
Minus food.
Minus food. And that's the thing. It's the world we live in. Food keeps getting more expensive.
Yeah.
Period. Sorry. Population keeps going up. Food gets shorter. Food's going to keep going up.
I can actually throw in a secondary guarantee on the $100 price range, because thinking of my packing list, everything I have in there that could be replaced with something new and what a normal person would use is only going to add roughly $5 to $10 an item, depending on what it is. So yeah, it would roughly double the price.
And kind of like where TJ's at. I mean, YouTube is a wonderful resource. There's go on there and just put in DIY camping gear, and you're going to find so much stuff that you don't even realize you got already in your house. That's camping gear.
Yeah. Well, you go ahead if you're not done.
But I mean, it's just a mind frame. You don't have to have the greatest. You don't have to have the newest stuff. You just have to have reliable stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff that's in my pack is not new.
Mm-mm.
Now, there are some new things in there,
Yeah.
because I try to buy 3 or 4 things every year just to replenish something or replace something, or just, every once in a while,
You find something cool.
my wife will give me a little bit extra money, and I'll go spend it on something like that. I mean,
Amen.
I'm fixing, I'm fixing to purchase probably 3 new knives that I've been looking at and wanting, and they seem like they'll serve me well for what I'm going to use them for. So I'm probably
purchase
fixing
stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too. There's 100 different YouTubers I follow that are all about like colonial history, and I sit here and go, okay, they had a pack. So what is the modern equivalent of that? Potato sack, pillowcase, whatever. They have everything was tinned. Well, what's the modern equivalent of tin? Tuna pouches.
Yeah.
Tuna pouches. Your ramen noodle in the packets. Like
No.
it's the same thing, just new.
Yeah. Well, and just talking about the knives there, this is really where you get into you can spend as much as you want.
Yes.
Because I don't know how much the knives that you're looking at are, but the knives that I'm looking at are like $50. But it's 3 knives.
Well, mine's going to be the knife the big knife that I'm wanting. It's about $60. The other 2 are between $25 and $10.
And the thing with it is, there's another knife that I want, and I will own one of these one day. I'll say it right now. An Essie.
Oh, Essies are cool.
I want an Essie so bad, but I cannot justify a $300 knife purchase right now.
Well, I mean, you go on, just for instance, go on BladeHQ.com and just, start looking at fixed blade knives.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got some custom jobs in there that's $3,000.
Well, I've got 4 either knives or bladed tools that I brought for my pack, and the cheapest one is $25. The most expensive one is probably $65. But a knife I own that is what I normally use that's not in my pack is $130.
Yeah.
I'd use a standard.
I think he's adding up all his blades that he's bringing. How many did you say he's bringing?
I'm bringing. All right, let me just. I'm bringing some form of chopping tool. I'm bringing a camp hatchet. I'm bringing some form of bowie, and I'm bringing a general purpose field knife. Is my 4 because they all fit my theme of the colonial. And I'm also bringing a couple fire starting implements. So that
11
counts too.
probably. That's what I'm guessing with you.
I mean,
11.
7.
That's not bad. That's 2 more.
Reasonable.
Well, I'm redundant, me.
Well, you pack 3 for 3.
Yeah, I'm redundant on stuff.
Where my whole thing is theme. It fits the colonial. So.
8. There's one on my holster. Yeah,
multi-tool.
So you got multi-tool. You got probably camp axe or something. You got your machete, your knife, your big knife, your fishing knife.
No, I've got. Let's see. I'll have. Well, there'll be one on my holster, which is a regular. It's just a knife.
Just a fixed knife.
I've got my sterile knife that's in my first aid kit. I've got my Swiss Army knife.
I love those.
I've got my fixed blade knife. I've got my Fast Hawk. I've got. There's one more somewhere. Oh, I've got my TSA safe knife.
Oh, the all carbon.
The carbon knife. Just because the fact is, people say, why do you tote that camping? It's
not for camping.
it is actually because it is wonderful for cutting up sausages. Summer sausages, because of the fact is it being carbon.
Well, carbon ceramic, yeah.
It doesn't hold any odor. It doesn't hold any oil.
Yeah.
So when you cut it up, you just take your water bottle, squirt it, wipe it off. It's clean. It's good to go.
Well, another thing too that I love about the carbon ceramic knives, and I actually have found a fixed blade that it's like actual knife. It's not a TSA like Heidi knife.
No.
The reason I love them is because they are carbon ceramic, where you can't really re-edge them like a metal knife. They cut meat or flesh for like skinning, cooking so well just because of that broken glass edge that they got on them.
That's true. Number 4, we've gotten way off topic.
That's the point. We're this is travel, hiking, this is everything.
Number 4, in case y'all forgotten, things that park rangers hate that people do on trail. This is a big one. This is a huge one.
I feel like this is what RD did in Oregon of 2017 that nobody else should do.
I know this is what RG did in Oregon.
Starting fires when it's dangerous or illegal to do so.
Don't do that.
Listen,
I
y'all.
cook my food sometime.
Well, there's things called camp stoves.
Yeah.
There's
Flameless ration heater.
there's ration heaters. There's all these different things, because here's the thing, we talk about technology, we talk about being able to go and get online. Well, before you go on a hike, you can go online and find out what the fire service is saying, whether it's legal or illegal to do those things, to start a fire, and therefore adjust accordingly. That's the big thing. But but even in the event of a survival situation, and I know we're getting off of hiking and camping, but in a survival situation, there are techniques that you can start fires and be able to contain them. Dakota fire pit.
My favorite is can fire.
Can fire. A dome fire with where you basically just build an oven.
Yeah, like an Adobe stove.
Hold on a second. You said Dakota? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that. What is that?
You never seen a Dakota fire pit?
No.
Well, Dakota fire pit is a hole that you dig down about anywhere from 8 to 12 inches. You make it somewhere roughly about 24 round, and then you step off from beside it. You dig a adjacent hole that goes from the top of the ground to the bottom of that hole.
It's like a trail.
It makes like a trench to it. A tunnel.
Yeah.
It makes like a tunnel.
Yeah.
And it's not as difficult to do as you might think it is.
Yeah.
But what it does is it does two things. Number one, it contains the fire. It makes the fire burn very efficiently because that little hole. And if you've ever seen one, I'll do one day to show it to you. It's like a wind tunnel. It's sucking air so hard because that's where the fire is getting its oxygen from.
Yeah.
It's virtually smokeless.
Well, it's like a forge, basically.
Yeah, it's burning so hot, so fast that it's virtually smokeless. And a lot of your SEER training, stuff like that, they talk about them. They've been around for centuries.
Well, they've been around since the natives.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's where they get their name. Is the Dakota Fire Pit? Is they were from the
Dakota Indians. But they're also very. I mean, here's the thing, and you can take a small, inexpensive barbecue grill. When I say the grill, the grate, the little circle grate. Build you a Dakota fire pit, and you'll have one of the most efficient cooking stoves that you'll find.
You literally built a stove that you just put on the ground.
Yeah, you just put your grill down in there, and you just put your pot on top of it, put whatever you want on there.
I mean, that's
I
the
can't
thing
believe
with
I've
it,
never heard of this.
It maintains the heat so well.
Yes.
It basically, like TJ said, it's like building a forge.
Well, I've seen people forge out of them before.
Yeah.
Like when they do like the indigenous metal forging, like raw iron kind of forging, they'll use those because they get so hot.
And they, and they're good for restarters if you're there for several days because the fact is the coals are fed continuously, so they continue to keep a heat for a lot longer than an open fire would. It's not visible from like if you're stealth camping, it's a certain
running from the FBI
or run that, but stealth. We'll use the word stealth camping.
Okay,
that and that is a thing.
It's a
for
thing.
Anybody that if you haven't ever looked at it, YouTube it. It's a big thing now. Stealth camping. And basically, it's where you go on somebody else's land and camp there.
Well, and the biggest thing, I watch a big Canadian YouTuber. Again, can't think of your name. You're an awesome guy. And there's a lot of land up in Canada that's like awesome to camp on, but it's federally protected. They won't let you camp on it. And he'll go out there and set up like a tarp and just off the trail, go camp.
Number 3, just a general lack of respect. Respect for other hikers, respect for other campers, respect for the land, respect for the park rangers, respect for the animals, the wildlife. It's just a general lack of respect. You're seeing it more and more. You read these stories of hikers and stuff about just people just being disrespectful.
Yeah.
You're going hiking, you're going camping to relax. You're going to have a good time. The last thing you want is some jerk that knows everything, that's done everything, and then whatever you have, he's got one better, following behind you, telling you what you're doing wrong.
Yeah, you got 8 mediumly priced knives, and he's got 16 custom made,
Custom
bone
built,
handle,
that kind of stuff.
This knife is the most perfect for cutting this one specific kind of tree because I find that this tree is the best for building shelter out of. That guy, don't be that guy.
Yeah, you run into those guys all the time. And I at one time I used to play golf. I played golf with a group of guys, and we had a guy come in, never had seen him before, come in, want to play with us. Sure, come on, play with us. And obviously, after hole number 1, we realized that he was a PGA Tour professional master guide.
This is what he does.
Is what he does, evidently, because he was able to pinpoint and find everything that was wrong with all of us, with our swing, with our stance, with our wardrobe, the way we were talking, our terminology, the kind of balls we use, the kind of clubs we use. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, you know where he finished on that game?
Last.
Everybody there outplayed him, even though we were all playing wrong. Hiking and backpacking, there is not a set technique to it.
Lord, no.
Well, you
TJ's
got that.
talked about it. If you want to go camping barefoot,
Yep.
if your feet's good enough to do it, go do it.
Yeah, if you're an indigenous peoples guy whose packing list is the shirt on your back and a stick, if you know how to do it.
But don't let somebody tell you you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're doing you.
Yep.
That's what you want to do. That's how you want to do it. You know, and that's the problem when I talk about general lack of respect. Respect the people on the trail.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because here's the thing: you will have a lot better time. You will be able to create You'll be able to create a lot better environment for everyone with the right attitude. You know, and you know, there's an old saying in hiking anyway: hike your hike.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not liking it, and that's what's caused you to have a bad mood, get off the trail.
Yeah.
Turn around, go back.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's not for you. And there's people that find that out the hard way.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and on the topic where it can go both ways on that too, just talking about being respectful, do you. If you're the supernaturalist who wants to get out there for a week straight, no shower, no bath, that's the way they did it in the old days, cool, do that, be you. But be aware that most people aren't that person and probably will be offended by your smell. And keep social distance.
Well, I mean, even in that situation there, you come across, say you're through hiking. Everybody's stinking.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, through hikers, especially on like the crowns, you'll have day hikers or sectional hikers that are just doing a part of it.
Yeah.
Well, they run up on these people that have been hiking for 28 days straight.
Yeah.
Yep.
They smell them before they see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be the guy that goes, "God, you stink."
Yeah, don't be that guy either.
Don't respect them and the fact of what they're doing. I mean, they're pushing it to the limit.
They're giving 6 months of their lives normally
Right, to do
this.
these things.
Yeah.
You know, and a bath is the last thing that you're worried about while you're on that trail.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but at the same time, side note, practice personal hygiene on the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
When you get an
especially-
opportunity to take a bath.
especially if you're going, 2 or 3, 4 or 5 days, take a toothbrush.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Well, and that's the thing. Do your best to help someone else out, but also do your best to not impede on anyone's day. You know, if you smell them before you see them, don't bring it up. But at the same time, if you know you're smelling and you meet a day hiker and they're like, "I'm a day hiker." "Oh, I'm sorry. I know I probably stink. I've been out here 3 months,
Well, I
no
mean,
shower."
It's just general courtesy, and
Politeness.
I don't feel like we should have to preach that.
Well, I mean,
And we've
we're
talked about
losing
it before.
We're losing it in the world,
Yeah.
and therefore we're going to lose it on the trails.
Oh, yeah.
And I want the trails to be the last place we lose it.
Well, that's like talking about Homemade Wanderlust. You know, she's all the time apologizing to people, taking a bucket bath anytime she can just to help be, hygienic, more polite, etc.
Number 2, getting too close and bothering wildlife.
Don't pet the elks.
Listen, I've got a friend.
If you had an elk in front of you that wanted to be petted, you'd pet it too.
I have a friend who is a highway guard at Yellowstone.
That's pretty
6 months out of the year, all he does is wait for a ranger to call him and say, "We have a crossing taking place at mile number so-and-so." And then he drives over there and he blocks traffic for those animals to cross.
Like bird flocks, deer, whatever.
Any
animal.
wildlife that's needing to cross there at Yellowstone on the highway, that's what he does. He has told me story after story of him repeatedly telling people, "Stay back, get back in your car," and having some moron walk up to a grizzly bear.
Say,
And then
nature take its course.
He grabs them and puts them in the judo shirt flip, right?
No.
No.
He basically says,
I told you not to
"Your
do that.
butt."
Yeah, that's a truck with teeth.
Yeah.
That's what we'll do.
You were warned.
Or he said, or maybe a
Elk.
elk or moose are walking across, and they think, "Oh, that's
Okay. The elk had a freaking collar on, okay?
You didn't mention that.
They
That's
are.
not a wild elk.
Yes, there are.
Not in a collar.
No, that can still be collared.
They're
Can be
just
wild.
tagged.
But now there'll be a group of moose,
That is a socialized.
and moose are worse. Actually, moose are worse than elk.
Moose are just mean.
Moose will kill you.
Pack of moose, meese. Let's get that clear.
Moose are a natural
Mooses.
combatant. What is it, killer whale?
Is it not mooses?
Okay,
Mooses,
so that's
meeses.
so a weird factoid that really doesn't make any sense out of context. A moose can dive down 30 meters to chomp on seaweed. Killer whales are natural predators of moose. They will eat them while they're down there eating.
But here's the thing. Mooses fight back, and I would watch videos of a nature documentary person who's like way back zoomed in with that $high Nat Geo camera as this killer whale's like, I'm about to get you, and that moose is like, you gonna fight for it.
I've got to look this up now. That's amazing.
Number one. And you would think this would be the easy one to remember.
Mm-hmm.
The number one thing that park rangers hate that people do on the trail, not reading the signs.
That's how you get lost.
That's easy.
You want to get lost, that's how you get lost.
Well, we talk about the rules, but that's true. There are signs that are there for a reason. They're telling you this is the direction you go for this trail. And here's the thing. Big national parks, big hiking areas, they may have multiple trails converging on each other. And you may be going to think that you're going to do the 3-mile loop today, and you're not paying attention. You've got your camera out. You've walked by 2 signs, and all of a sudden now you're on the 17-mile death march that's taking you up the side of the cliff. That is reserved for billy goats and experienced hikers. And you're there with a bottle of water and nothing else. So
Let's do it.
Bottle of water, no shoes.
no shoes. So you've got into a situation to where it's your fault because you didn't pay attention on the trail. It is, and don't get me wrong, you'll catch me looking around, especially in places that I've never been, on trails I've never been on. You're going to catch me looking all over the place. I'm going to be looking at the trees. I'm going to be looking at the ground. I'm going to look at rocks. I'm going to say that's one of the prettiest rocks I've ever seen.
That's a nice boulder.
I'm going to look at the sky. But the one thing I'm going to keep an eye out for, number 1, signs. Number 2, trail markers.
Yep.
Number 3, bears. I can't stress to you enough.
I'm not worried as much about the wildlife as I am making sure I keep up with the trail markers.
That's
because
true.
if you lose a trail marker, you're off trail.
Especially if they're numbered trail markers. Like, there's a town a mile away, and you miss it and think, oh, the next town will be close. And it's like the next town is 20 miles away.
Well, that's a good point. It's just like with the, when you're driving down the interstate, and you look over and you see that there's a gas station there.
Last exit, gas for the next 40 miles.
No, it don't even say that. It just says gas station, and you think, well, there'll be another one.
And there's
couple
not.
Miles, and there's not. And now you've put yourself in risk because you chose not to follow signs.
I've been there, done that. I actually was coming back from Montgomery one time, and I made that drive a lot back in the day for reasons we'll talk about at some point. It's a tangent. And it burns gas to drive from Montgomery back to here. And I got to where I was like, oh, I know my tank. I know my fuel level. And I hit it, and I was like, 30 miles, we're good. And first little, you got 10 miles to empty comes on. And then the little blinking, you're about to run out of gas and be stranded on the side of the road comes on. And by the end, my car was actually talking to me through the GPS. It's like, you are about to die. Not really. This is a little anecdote. Funny. Don't take that seriously. But yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, he doesn't have a kid.
I wish.
Well, that's like when we was traveling through the Delta.
And furthermore, on signs, if you see a sign that has a big yellow sign with a big moose or a big bear on it, maybe don't camp right there. Maybe camp on down the road. Because, yeah, the territory's wide, but this is a known crossing for those animals.
Yeah, pet it. Pet it,
Don't
love it, take it
pet
home.
the wildlife.
Don't.
Do what you want.
There are actual parks dedicated to specifically socialized animals where you can go do that. Don't go do it on a trail.
Every one of them.
For the love of all that is holy, don't pet the wildlife.
Do what you want.
Because, yeah, it worked out for Reynolds and his luck of the foolish, we'll call it.
Still here.
It may not work out for you. You may go to pet the same elk. You be out, where were you when you pet that elk?
Olympic National Forest.
You may be out in the Olympic National Forest and you see an elk with a collar, and it's the same one, and he doesn't like the way your shirt looks today. And now you're on the news.
Elk caught these hands.
No, you call elk.
You'll think caught those hands.
Nah, he caught a good petting though.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I know, I got problems.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Also,
We love you for it, but you need to work on it.
less important, but learn the difference between an elk and a reindeer because it could save your life one day.
Okay, last factoid, and then I'm done. Talking about packing lists, packing for things. What is the number one thing that is forgotten the most
My pack.
in people's packing list, and this goes not only for first timers or new people to hiking, but even veterans will do this.
Like they've packed their pack, they're ready to go, they've not left it in lockup, and they forget an item.
Yes.
First aid.
No.
I'm trying to think of my best guess.
Well, I hope you are.
Can I use a lifeline? I'll make a call.
That's what I'm gonna say. A lifeline, some way to communicate with somebody, get a hold of somebody.
No.
My only other guess was water.
No.
I'm stuck.
Toilet paper.
Bingo. Toilet paper.
I immediately thought of that because every pack I've ever packed has some kind of toilet roll in it. My hunting backpacks
Listen.
has toilet paper.
Hey,
in
that
it.
bag out there that I got in my truck has toilet paper in it.
Hey, when you're up the road and you catch one where life is normal and then it's got to go now, you learn something about yourself.
But always remember, pack toilet paper when you're hiking. I don't care if you're going on a day hike, if you're going for 5 days, if you're going to hit the AT. Pack toilet paper. It is so important that you have it. And here's the thing too. And this is something that goes along with toilet paper. Have some way to dig a hole.
Yeah, don't just dump it on the side of the road. Been there, done that. Whenever you're getting the glove box to get all your McDonald's napkins that you save like a normal person should, those come in real handy when you forget toilet paper.
But dig a hole, do your business, put all the toilet paper in that hole, cover it up.
On that point, and this is something I got from my grandfather, I actually don't keep toilet roll in my car. I keep the super family size roll of brawny paper towels because they last forever. One big roll, and they're cheaper than buying a thing of toilet paper.
That hurts.
It doesn't hurt if you get the soft brawny. It doesn't. I've spent many a day.
I use sandpaper.
I've duct tape.
I've spent many a day on like a 20 plus
pads.
hour farm excursion where we're out on actually down here near where we're at building electric fence for cattle and stuff. Having to use the bathroom, and he's like, "Can't get back to the house." Go up there and he'll throw me a roll of brawny, and I just picked it up from working with him for so long.
Well, I'm done. That's all I got.
I think that's going to be the end of it.
I don't want to end on taking Deuce in the woods with brawny. We got to find something else to end on. That's kind of
No, that's where we're ending it. You took it there. That's where it's stopping. I've been Jordan.
Stop! I'm not stopping. Hold on, I got something else to say. We got business. Yeah.
Do we?
We
got
do.
business.
We do have things to talk about. Oh, one of the things we need to talk about. Let us know how you like the new intro.
Yes. It's coming on this episode.
This episode, you'll have already seen it. Let us know how you like it. Let us know if we need to change it back to the old one or need to do something totally different.
Well, we're not gonna. Anyway. I'm just kidding.
Continue to let us know if you like the new format. We're really liking the new format, so definitely keep us up to date on that. We don't have a new flag up, so hit us up in like an Instagram DM. Don't do it in the YouTube comments, but if you have a flag that you would like to see posted, a American historical flag, we're not putting up like the communist flag or like the Union Jack or anything like that.
Confederate flag.
But an American historical flag, let us know in the comments. We'll try and get it up there. Do we have new or minis? I think we've talked about the minis coming. Have we?
They're coming.
All right, we've got the minis coming soon. Then
I will mention that due to COVID and travel restrictions and shipping restrictions and the post office just losing packages,
yes,
Yeah.
we are kind of behind on the merch at this point, but that's out of our control.
It's not our fault, and it's not Stephanie. If you're watching, it's definitely not your fault. It's
No.
the state that you live in, and all their infinite wisdom's fault.
Well, and if you've bought anything that's needed to be shipped, then you know that if it's coming through anything other than like a proprietary seller with like a dedicated UPS where you pay for the extra shipping, which we are not,
No.
it takes forever to get here.
Yeah, it'll get here when it gets here.
Yeah. So we apologize. Please just bear with us on that. Life has changed dramatically because of everything. It's out of our hands.
Yeah.
All of our links are in the comments, or all in the description rather now.
Description.
We'll try and get some links to some of the channels we've referenced in the description as well. Again, you guys are awesome, and we all take a lot of inspiration from you. So hopefully you see it. Anything else? Any social media updates? Anything like that? That we need to talk
Like,
about?
subscribe, hit the
Of
notification
course,
bell.
always.
The
like,
biggest one is hit the
subscribe.
notification bell because that's the easiest way to know when our content's coming out. I've got the notification bell clicked and I've got admin privileges and it's still not telling me whenever they come live.
Mine Facebook it actually is.
I'm
It
talking
does.
about the YouTube where the YouTube is supposed to
Oh.
tell us. Like I have it where you talk about clicking it to let me
Yeah.
know and it's still not pushing it to my phone.
Can't wait for you guys to
that.
actually stay tuned during the. We're doing a 4th of July special coming up, and 4th of July is right around the corner.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
Around
So-
the corner.
And for our fun thing this week, drop in the comments what is your number one, not necessarily essential, but your favorite non-essential item to bring if you're hiking, camping, backpacking.
What's your luxury item?
What's your luxury item?
Yeah.
Because I can't remember his name. I'll talk about it next podcast. But there's actually a master packer for the old Royal Navy who wrote a book on packing lists, and he said that no pack is complete without at least one thing that has nothing to do with what you're doing. That's just luxury, just for you to have. Has no bearing on it. It's just what you like. So, what's your favorite luxury item to put in your
Cigars.
Well, is that all?
pack? Now I'm ready to finish.
Now we're
Is that
done.
everybody?
That's it.
All right. Well, I've been Jordan.
TJ.
I'm RD.
And I'm Pops. Remember, poop in the woods, cover it up, to ching ching pow.